Hello everyone, good day. I'm Sergeant A. Arweta from BSED Math 2A in Kapalong College of Agriculture Sciences and Technology or KCAST. So for today's video, we will talk about the linear programming, specifically on how to solve an LP model using graphical method. Before we proceed to our mainly discussion, we will introduce first the learning objectives. So first, as a viewers, you will be able to understand the basic assumptions as well as the properties of linear programming. Second, you will understand the step-by-step process of solving LP model using graphical method. And lastly, you can graphically solve any LP problem that has only two variables by both the corner point. And now, we will define first what is linear programming. So basically, it is a widely used mathematical modeling technique designed to help managers in planning and decision making relative to resource allocation, which belongs to the broader field of mathematical programming. And in this sense, programming refers to modeling and solving a problem mathematically. And now, LP has been applied in many areas over the past 50 years. So, all LP problems have requirements in solving. So, first is all problems seek to maximize or minimize some quantity or what we call the objective function. Second is the presence of restriction or constraints that limit the degree to which we can pursue our objective. Third is there must be alternative courses of action to choose from. And lastly is the non-negative restriction. That is the linear programming properties. Now, let's proceed to the four basic assumptions of linear programming. First is certainty. All model parameters, availability of resources, profit or cost, contribution of a unit of decision variable and consumption of resources must be known and constant. Second is divisibility or continuity. The solution values of decision variables are allowed to assume continuous values. Third is the additivity is the value of the objective function and the total amount of each resource used must be equal to the sum of the respective individual contribution, profit or cost by decision variables. And lastly is the linearity or proportionality, which is the amount of each resource used and its contribution to the profit in objective function must be proportional to the value of each decision variables. So that is the four basic assumptions of linear programming. So now, let's proceed to the step-by-step process of formulating LP problems. So first, we will completely understand the problem. It is very important to understand the problem because if you understand the problem, you can answer correctly. Next is identify the objective and constraints. Then third is define the decision variables kung ano yung gagamitin mong variables para hindi ka malito. Pang-apat, use the decision variables to write mathematical expression for the objective function and the constraints. So, for example, the Arweta Furniture Company produces two designs, old type design or 90s design and new type design or 21st design of an expensive cabinet. Processes are similar in that both, but the amount of hours in carpentry department and in the furniture designer department are different. Each new type design of cabinet takes 4 hours of carpentry and 2 hours in furniture designer, while each old type design of cabinet requires 3 hours of carpentry and 1 hour in furniture designer. Moreover, there are 240 hours of carpentry time available and 100 hours in furniture designer department. And each new type design yields a profit of $70 and each old type design a profit of $50. So ang una natin gagawin ay intindihin ng mabuti ang ating problem. So, Arata Furniture Company raw ay nagpuproduce ng dalawang design. Old type design meaning the 90s design na cabinet at new type design meaning yung mga design ng henerasyon ngayon na cabinet. The process are similar, but we take note that each new type design, yung mga bagong design na cabinet ngayon, takes 4 hours of carpentry and 2 hours in furniture. While the old type or the 90s type of design of cabinet requires only 3 hours of carpentry and 1 hour in furniture designer. And then, there are 240 hours of carpentry time available in a week and 100 hours in furniture designer department. And then, each new type or yung mga bagong design na cabinet ay naghahalaga $70 each, while the old type or the 90s type design of cabinet has a profit of $50 each. So ngayon, the company wants to determine the best combination of old type design and new type design of a cabinet to reach the maximum profit. So gusto ng kumpanya na malaman kung ano yung best combination ng dalawa. Anong best kung ilan ang ipoproduce nila sa 90s type na design na cabinet at ilan yung ipoproduce nila sa new type design of a cabinet to reach the maximum profit. So, para mas maintindihan natin at mas ma-visualize natin yung problem, gagawa tayo ng table at ilalagay natin yung mga required hours to produce in every one unit of every department. So, we have the Department of Carpentry and the Furniture Designer. So, the new type or the mga bagong design ng cabinet is required of 4 hours and 2 hours that has a profit of $70 per unit, while the old type or the 90s design of cabinet requires 3 hours in carpentry and 1 hour in furniture designer, but in a $50 profit per unit. There are the available hours in every week that 240 in carpentry department and 100 hours available in furniture designer department. At ngayon, naintindihan na natin at na-visualize na natin yung problem using the table. We will identify kung ano yung objective natin, kung maximize ba or minimize. So, isang technique na gagamitin natin ang maximize kung profit ang ating pinag-uusapan, while minimize naman kung cost. Example, LP model na ginagamit ang maximize is the production model. Kadalasan ginagamit or yun ang ginagamit. Nasa blending model naman yung yung minimum cost rather. Tapos, pagkatapos ng objective, sa constraints na naman tayo kung ano yung constraints natin. Constraints natin is hours of carpentry time use cannot exceed 240 hours per week, as well as the hours of furniture designer time use cannot exceed also in 100 hours per week. So, hindi hihigit sa 240 ang carpentry time, tapos hindi hihigit sa 100 hours per week ang magagamit sa furniture designer department. We will think the decision variables that represent the actual decisions we will make. So, for me, it is easy for me if I will let X and Y. X as the number of new type or yung mga bagong design ng cabinet na napoproduce per week, at Y naman ang nagrepresent ng number of old type design of cabinet to be produced per week. And then, we create the LP objective function in terms of X and Y, which is to maximize profit is equal to $70 plus $50 yung old type cabinet. Pagkatapos, we will develop mathematical relationships for the two constraints. So, for carpentry, the total time used is 4 hours per new type design of cabinet times the number of new type design of cabinet na i-produce plus 3 hours per old type design of cabinet times number of old type design of cabinet. So, in mathematical, we have 4x, x that represent the number of new type design of cabinet produced, plus 3y, y as represent the number of all type design of cabinet produced, is less than or equal to 240. Why less than or equal? Since our constraints cannot exceed 240. So dapat hindi hihigit sa 240. Similarly, furniture designer time use 2 hours per new type design of cabinet times number of new type design of cabinet produced plus 1 hour per old type design of cabinet times number of old type design of cabinet produced. So in mathematical, we have 2x, x as represent again the number of new type design of cabinet produced, plus 1 y again is the represent of the number of all type design of cabinet produced is less than or equal to 100. The furniture designer also constraints said that cannot exceed 100 hours. That's why less than or equal ang ginamit natin. Yun, the values for x and y must be non-negative. So, the x greater than or equal to 0 since the x is the number of new type design of cabinet produced is greater than or equal to 0 as well as the y. So to complete the problem stated, we will write it in mathematical expression. So the maximized profit is equal to $70 x as our new type design of cabinet plus $50 y as y is represent the number of all type design of cabinet produced. Then subject to 4x plus 3y is less than or equal to 240 as our carpentry constraint, and 2x plus y is less than or equal to 100 as our furniture designer constraint, and x and y must be greater than or equal to 0. So now let's proceed to the graphical representation of a constraint. So color red is yung naka-horizontal, which is our x or the number of new type design of cabinet. While yung naka-vertical is our y, which is color orange, is the number of old type design of cabinet. The x-axis or the horizontal axis is represent the constraint y is greater than or equal to 0, and the y-axis or the vertical axis represents the constraints that x is greater than or equal to 0. So first, ang una nating gagawin is i-plot natin yung una nating constraint, which is yung carpentry constraint. So first is 4x plus 3y is equal to 240. When the company produces new type design of cabinet, the carpentry constraint is 4 times 0 since no type design nga na-produce, plus 3y is equal to 240. So we have the y is equal to 80, and when the company produces no old type, so basically our y is 0. So 4x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 240. So 4x plus 0 is equal to 240. So x is equal to 60. So ipa-plot natin yung y natin is naka-vertical. Ipo-point natin yung 80 at saka point na 60 sa horizontal. So that is our graph in carpentry constraint. So now let's proceed to the second constraint, which is the furniture designer constraint. So ganun din ang gagawin natin kung walang bagong design ni cabinet. The furniture designer constraint is 2 times 0 plus y is equal to 100. Then 0 plus y is equal to 100. So we have the y, which is the 100. The another is if walang old type design ni cabinet na maproproduce. So the furniture design constraint is 2x plus 0 since walang old type as our y is the old type is equal to 100. Then 2x plus 0 is equal to 100, then so x is equal to 50. So we have y is 100 and x is 50. So now, ipa-plot din natin sa ating graph ang ating y, which is our vertical, which is point 100, pupoint natin. Tapos yung x natin, which is 50, pupoint din natin sa ating horizontal line. So, that is the graph for our second constraint. At ngayon, yung unang constraint at pangalawang constraint ay i-combine natin. Ito yung combination. Ito yung graph ng dalawang constraint pag i-combine. Nag-intersect, di ba siya? So, kanang feasible region is, di ba, ang point tanan sa 2x plus y is equal to 100 is gikan sa 100 nga y, hantod sa 50 sa horizontal line. So, kana dira sulod na, ang sulod ana is mao na tanan ang points niya. And then, sa pinakauna nga constraint, kanang 80 tapos 60 is, ang points po niya tanan is, gikan sa 80 sa y, hantod siya sa 60 nga x. So, basically, kung ato siyang tan-awon, kanang feasible region is mao na iyang common. To produce old type design and new type design of cabinet, both departments must be used. So we need to find a solution that satisfies both constraints simultaneously. That's why kinuha natin kung ano yung feasible region niya. Yung feasible region is where all constraints are satisfied, na meron siya sa unang constraint at meron din siya sa pangalawang constraints. So any point in this region is a feasible solution and any point outside the region is an infeasible solution. So ngayon, to find the maximum profit is kukunin natin yung point, yung corner point niya. Ang corner point ng ating feasible region ay yung order point 0 yung x at 80 yung y, yung 50 yung x, yung 0 yung y, at saka yung nasa gitna, yung nag-intersect niya. Iyang tatlo ang ating corner point sa ating feasible region. Ngayon, hindi natin alam kung anong point yung nasa gitna. Kaya, yan muna ang ating isolve. I-find muna natin kung ano yung value ng x and y dyan. So, point na color blue, yan ang ating hahanapin kung ano ang x and y dyan. So, to find that, so using our knowledge in algebra, we have the two equation, the 4x plus 3y is equal to 240 and 2x plus y is equal to 100. So, first is, sa dalawang equation na yan, maghanap na feel natin, madaling ma-eliminate yung 4x. So, para ma-eliminate ang 4x, kailangan natin ng negative 4x para pag i-add natin yung 4x plus negative 4x is equal to 0. So, na-eliminate na natin yung 4x. So, yun yung goal natin. So, ang ginawa ko is yung 2x plus y is equal to 100. Gitimes na ako og negative 2 para makakuha ko og negative 4x. So, mo to akong gamit. So, ang answer, negative 2 times 2x, negative 4x. Negative 2 times y is equal to negative 2y is equal to negative 2 times 100 is equal to negative 200. And then, i-eliminate na natin para malaman natin kung ano yung ating y. So, 4x plus 3y is equal to 240 plus negative 4x minus 3y is equal to negative 200. So, 4x plus negative 4x is equal to 0. So, na-eliminate na natin yung x. At 3y plus negative 2y is positive 1y is equal to 240 plus negative 200 is equal to 40. So, nakita na natin kung ano yung ating y, value ng ating y. So, value ng ating y is 40. Ngayon, para malaman natin ang value ng ating x, ang gagamitin natin na equation ay yung ginamit natin kanina, yung 2x plus y is equal to 100. So, 2x plus y, which is ang y natin, may value na tayo sa y na 40 is equal to 100. And then, we have 2x is equal to 100 minus 40. Then, 2x is equal to 60 Then 60 divide 2 is equal to 30. So we come up the result na atong x is 30, atong y is 40. So karon na natay value sa atuang tulo ka corner point, na natay order pair, na natay value sa x and y sa atuang center. So to find the maximum profit using our objective function, that $70 x plus $50 y, we will put the value of the x and y to find kung ano yung maximum. So P are 0.0 x0 y0, then 70 times 0 plus 50 times 0 is equal to 0. Then ating point order pair na 0 at saka 80, 70 times 0, which is atong x is 0 at saka yung y natin is 80. So 70 times 0 plus 50 times 80 is equal to 4,000. Then yung pangatlong order pair natin, yung 30 at saka 40 is equal to 70 times 30 plus 50 times 40. So 70 times 30, 2,100 plus 50 times 40 is equal to 2,000 is equal to 4,100. Then another is the order pair of 50 tsaka 0 is equal to 70 times 50, which is atong x, plus 50 times 0, which is our y. So it's equal to 3,500. So we have the question, why we have 0, 0? Since 0, 0 is also our corner point. That's why we put it. And then we have the result na nataya highest value ng 4,100. So we have therefore the best combination is to produce a new type design of a cabinet and 40 old type, which is our y, for 40 old type design of cabinet in order to reach the maximum profit. And this will now be the optimal solution since 30 order pair of 30 and 40 gives the highest value of 4,100. So ganon lang ang pag-solve using the graphical method in LP problems. So in summary, graphical solution to an LP problems is the easiest way to solve a small LP problems. Also, it only works when there are just two decision variables. And when there are more than variables, a more complex approach is needed as it is not possible to plot the solution in a two-dimensional graph. And also, it provides valuable insight into how other approaches work. I hope you learn from me and thank you for watching. God bless!